Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's November 14th, 2016. We're looking at the front page of CNN.com. I want you to ask yourself, when was the last time you saw a news headline like this? White nationalists praise Trump aide. KKK leader Bannon reaffirms Trump's hardline promises. In February of this year, I put out a video on why Donald Trump truly made the most sense to be the next president of the United States. I'll link that video in the description. Very quickly, what I explained is we are living out an agenda right now. The people who run this agenda, who control our government, and who use these politicians like puppets, the same people that make our news, which is agenda and propaganda based, these same people for the last few years in hyperdrive have been using the media to divide and conquer, dividing people among race, religion, sexuality, and everything else. We've seen so many race-based headlines, race-based shootings. The reason this is happening is because the American people in 2008 consented to doing things based on race. That was by voting for Barack Hussein Obama, who was an agent, who was a puppet, who was a stooge, who deceived millions. The only reason anybody voted for Obama in 2008, and everybody knows this is true, the only reason they voted for him was because he was black and they liked the way he talked. Had anybody done any homework, they would have seen that his voting record was the exact same as George W. Bush, the president who came before him. From the wars to the bank bailouts to everything else, spying on Americans, Obama's voting record was a horror story. It was the Bush administration in perfect alignment. That's what's so comical too, you know? People who like Bush, they don't like Obama. People who didn't like Bush, they like Obama. When you pay attention to what's going on in America, it's people voting mostly based on party and false ideals and not paying attention to reality. You know, here's the Republicans now voting for Donald Trump, who was a New York Democrat until 2009. Anyhow, with regards to Obama, at the beginning of his administration in 2008, there were a lot of headlines about Donald Trump, who was bringing forth the birther argument, suggesting that Obama was not born in the U.S., but was born abroad, possibly in Kenya. Remember, the word birther in Gematria sums to 44. Obama, the 44th president, but only the 43rd person to be president. Now Trump, the 45th president, but the 44th person to be president. Think about it. Trump, at the beginning of the Obama administration, making big headlines. Now for the last year and a half of Obama's administration, it's been Trump campaigning, getting more attention than the president himself. Think about how earlier this year when Trump was campaigning, he had a meeting with the president of Mexico over the wall. That was bizarre. I flagged that. I said, remember if Trump becomes the president, that he had a meeting with a sitting president. How often do candidates meet with the president of another country over something they're barking about on the campaign trail? Anyway, Donald Trump, 44, Obama, the beginning of Obama's administration, Trump, the end of Obama's administration, Trump, now the transition of power from Obama to Trump. And think about it, the first black president, now the first president in a century connected to the KKK, being openly racist, hateful, divisive. When Trump was campaigning, everyone was saying nobody had seen this since George Wallace in 1972. That was 44 years ago. George Wallace's campaign for president ended with an assassination attempt. And Donald Trump's scripted, staged presidency to come will end with a staged assassination as well, because this is all a puppet show, this is all agenda, this is all about provoking and tormenting the American people. You know, we're a nation, a big nation with a lot of different culture, a lot of different viewpoints, personalities. There's all sorts of racist and hateful people in this nation. That's why there's so many people who support Trump. The powers that be know what kind of nation this is. They know how different and diverse we are and how we can be pitted against each other. So anyway, let's talk about yesterday's news, November 13th, 2016, these appointments. Steve Bannon and this man with the crazy name, Reince Priebus. So this was CNN's headline yesterday. I keep wanting to call him Chump. Trump chooses top advisors. He names RNC chair as chief of staff, Bannon as advisor. And Bannon's the one that's bringing out the KKK, supposedly. But look at this. Look at the top headline. Trump chooses top advisors, gematria of 104. Chief of staff, 104. The date this nation declared its independence, well, the date that goes down in the history book, date with 104 numerology. Remember, Masonic equals 74, Jewish 74, holiday 74, Independence Day 74, July 4th 74. We really declared our independence on July 2nd, the midway point of the year. But anyway, that was a date with 104 numerology. The word Jerusalem in gematria sums to 104 with a USA right in the middle. Jerusalem. Right now, the U.S. is giving a record $38 billion a year to Israel. The word Jew equals 38. If you divide 38 billion by 365, the number of days in a year, that's 104 million per day to Jerusalem. This nation was always created out of agenda. Part of that agenda, which has evolved, is the Zionist false Jew nation of Israel. That's why the United States of America for more than a century has had the Star of David stamped on the Federal Reserve in our money, predating Israel. This nation has always been a Masonic Zionist agenda. That's why Donald Trump says he's the biggest fan of Israel in the world. But anyway, here's yesterday's headlines, reminding you who runs our media. We really do give $104 million a day to Israel, the little tiny nation that shouldn't even exist. You know, Donald Trump wants to complain about illegal immigrants who mostly come over here, live in peace, and contribute. Most illegal immigrants work for almost nothing, are exploited, and are the reason our groceries are as cheap as they are. You know? It's all part of the New World Order system. All of this is by design. Divide and conquer. That's the Freemason motto. Freemasonry running the show. So anyway, his pick here for chief of staff, this man. Notice he's 44 years old. How about that? 44th president, transitioning from number 44. They get a 44-year-old. Born March 18th, 1972, back when George Wallace was being racist on the campaign trail. I noticed right away that this man's birth name, Reinhold, I mean, who has that name? Again, our politicians are born and bred to be. This man was born and bred to be. Just like Donald Trump was born and bred to be. If you missed my video on Donald Trump's commercial from 2010, where he talks about being born for the job, giving away his future scripted presidency in that commercial. If you missed that, I'll link that in the description as well. My February video is down there. The Donald Trump mattress sheep predictive programming for the presidency commercials down there. Amazing stuff they've been doing to us. But anyway, this man's name in gematria sums to 137. 137 is the 33rd prime number. 137, the 33rd prime number. Washington, D.C., 137. It's on the American meridian, 137. Authority, the 33rd prime. Federal, 33. Order, 33. Secrecy, 33. Masonry, 33. In 2017, Donald Trump will have been a mainstream celebrity for 33 years. Celebrity that began in 1984. Yesterday's date was a date with a life lesson number 33, the date of these announcements. His last name, Priebus, also has gematria 45. Trump's to be the 45th president. Remember, Berlin Wall equals 45. Donald Trump announced as the 45th president on the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. His name in gematria that he goes by sums to 72, like the year he was born, 44 years ago. His name in simple English gematria sums to 144. And when you write out 44, it sums to 144. These numbers connected to death and killing throughout history. For more than a year, I've been showing how these numbers have been coded on Donald Trump. I thought he might be assassinated before we even got to Election Day. I said if he is elected president, I guarantee you his presidency ends in an assassination. Just put out a long video today on Donald Trump, the Berlin Wall, John F. Kennedy. Must-see video. I'll link that in the description. That is truly a must-see. This man went to school in Wisconsin. Wisconsin is one of two states with a gematria of 44. The other is Georgia. 44, the kill number. FDR died in Georgia on the 33rd parallel. His last date in the White House was a date with 33 numerology. This man's birth numerology, 112, like Zionist. No doubt a Zionist administration, they always are. Date with 93 numerology as well, the Zionist nation of Israel, established around the numbers 93. The date of the news, the date that leaves 48 days left in the year. Also the 318th day of the year. Look at this guy's birthday, 318. The announcement on 318. Remember the name Donald Trump equals 138. The Berlin Wall construction began August 13th, 13/8. JFK killed 831 days after the start of construction. JFK gave that speech at the Berlin Wall. By the numbers. Anyway, day that leaves 48 days left in the year, that's the number for Donald Trump, 48. Talked about the 33, 137 connections. This man born for the White House, born for the federal government, born for a presidential administration. Likely chosen from birth because he's 44. Inauguration day from this news is 68 days. Donald John Trump, his full name 68, 1968, the year a major agenda went into place having to do with September 11th and everything up to the present. Remember, Donald Trump, his book published January 15th, 2000, said the World Trade Center would be destroyed in a major terrorist attack blamed on Osama bin Laden. Don't you think that calls for more of an investigation? How did he get that so right? Same reason all year. He said things, and then days after in the media, those news stories about what he said came true. From Belgium, he talked about Belgium and terrorism, and then there was a terrorist attack just days later. He talked about illegal immigrants and what a danger they are. Then there was the story out of San Francisco about the illegal immigrant stealing the federal agent's gun on a San Francisco pier and accidentally shooting a woman. Ridiculous stories, ridiculous propaganda. Donald Trump said, "I am Batman," and then the day after, 3 people connected to Batman died, 2 actors, and supposedly a man in Maryland who practiced charity and drove around in his own Batmobile that he created. Go back and watch these videos. This is all real news. All this stuff happened. I've documented all of it on this video channel. Donald Trump. So here's the other guy, his advisor. The KKK is giving him props for this guy who used to work for Breitbart. A lot of people think Breitbart's a legitimate news publication. No, it's just another Fox News type thing. Tailored news for the right wing by the numbers. All propaganda. Andrew Breitbart's death by the numbers. I guarantee you he's still alive. Just to create more brand awareness. You know. The mainstream loves to feed people false conspiracy. Like the people on the right think Breitbart was murdered, for putting out this right-wing news propaganda. No, no, no. This is just all bullshit, all agenda. See my video on his death. These people are all selling us out, divide and conquer. They're all agents in the gang. So anyhow, this man, he's currently 62, Mason 62. Remember, March 3rd, 3/3 is the 62nd day of the year. Freemasons obsessed with 33. His first name, Stephen, Gematria 33, on the date with 33 numerology of the announcement. His name, Stephen K. Bannon, has the Gematria as you see, 68 like Donald Trump, 77, Washington, D.C. is on the 77th meridian. Steve Bannon in Gematria also connects to 68. 41 like Breitbart, who he worked for. 50 like Donald, like America. Think about it, America, 50 states. His date of birth, numerology of 110 like the word president, like the name Rockefeller. Donald Trump was in the Rockefeller Plaza the night of the election. President, the small way equals 47. The building was 47 floors tall that Donald Trump was in election night. the Midtown Hilton Hotel, and Hell's Kitchen. With regards to them saying the KKK connections, KKK, K is the 11th letter, K plus K is 33. This was a date with a life lesson number 33. All year they've been pairing Donald Trump with the Ku Klux Klan, matching gematria. Paul Ryan trying to be the good guy all year. See my video on Paul Ryan and the death of his father. These people are all part of a sick gang, and Donald Trump and Paul Ryan are both Jesuits. That's a secret society within the Catholic Church connected with Masonry. So that pretty much covers it, Truth Seeker. Next video will be on the death of PBS newscaster at age 61. She died today. 61 numerology. The word news equals 61. So does the word God in Jewish gematria. And in this world, if you had to really look at what most people's God is, no matter what they say they believe in, the truth is most people's God is the television and the news. Because you talk to most people in this world, all they know about and all they can talk about is what the news has programmed them with. News, God, this woman dead at 61. Next video coming up. Till next time, True